you know the power of this? Here's Paul. He's killed people. And we're told in Romans 7, somehow, at one point, the law of God seems to have broken through his self-righteousness. And he says the commandment came home and it slew me. And we're never quite sure just what that autobiographical note means, but it seems like that Paul began to realize what he had done. Cate Blanchett, in a movie, 2002 movie called Heaven, not a very well-known movie, but Cate Blanchett is one of the best actresses out there. And it's a movie about a woman, I think she was a teacher, just a normal woman, who was so upset about how a drug dealer was ruining the lives of children in a particular part of the city that she decided to, and no one would listen to her, the police wouldn't listen to her, she decided that she was going to detonate a bomb in the man's office and kill him, to kill a drug dealer with a bomb. But what happens is the night watchman takes the bomb out, not knowing it was in a waste can, takes it into an elevator, takes it down, it explodes in the elevator and kills 4 people, including children. And in the movie, when they tell Cate Blanchett, who's a woman who loves children, she's a teacher, she's doing this for the children's sake, when she finds out that she has killed children, because she's such a great actress, you can just see her collapse. She just collapses. Physically, spiritually. She's a massive smoking wreckage. In a sense, she goes into a hell of guilt and shame. I have to use the word hell just mainly because it's just not just a guilty conscience. She just collapses, and she essentially goes into a hell of guilt and shame, and she never gets out of it the rest of the movie. But Paul must have known that. Paul must have sensed that. Paul did sense that. And yet then he says, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. How can he say such a thing like that? He crossed over. He crossed over. He didn't say, well, I've got a lot to atone for in my life. I mean, that's the way the heart works. That's a person who's really in bondage to the law and still in bondage to the law. But no, Paul says, now there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. He says, I was the chief of sinners, and yet God is using me the most. He's able to be that realistic. He's unbelievably humble about who he is, and yet he's able, there's no false modesty about him either. He's able to say, I'm really, honestly, the most fruitful of all the apostles. It's not that hard to look. Just add up the books in the New Testament. You can see that. Who has the most? And yet, he has that astounding boldness and humility at the same time. Why? He crossed over. He knew where he stood. No, of course, he hadn't even begun to really change on the inside, but he knew where he stood with God. It's astonishing.